Okay, 7:01, I'm going to call the December 10th Conservation Commission meeting to order. First order of business, I want to announce that this meeting is an open meeting. It's going to be recorded by Area 58 and can be reviewed on YouTube. The only difference in our agenda tonight is going to be, I'm going to be adding to the discussions, it's called the SNAP discussion, which is a training program. First order of business is a hearing for 0 Montponce Street, map 95, lot 10. Caitlin,
Yes.
do you have that NOI? We'll have to read that out.
Plan submitted.
I don't know if it'll let me open it though because of this pop-up, so let's have a fingers crossed.
I don't see Adobe.
Yeah, it's not. Okay. Kurt, no. Okay. Okay, we're here.
All right.
There it is.
We're here.
Do you mind passing me the notes?
Yes, sorry about that. All right.
You want to read it? You notice? You read it? You want to read this?
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
This
Okay,
minute?
sure.
What am I reading? All of
The
this?
highlighter?
Yes. And then we'll open the meeting.
Okay, so this is a legal notice, Town of Halifax Conservation Commission. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing conducted by the Halifax Conservation Commission under the provisions of MGL Chapter 131, Section 20, Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 164 of the Town of Halifax, the Halifax Wetlands Protection Bylaw, on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Halifax Town Hall to consider the notice of intent filed on November 18th, 2024 by Grady Consulting, LLC of Kingston, Mass. On behalf of applicant Dennis and Carrie McPherson of Halifax, Mass. for construction of a 7-building storage facility with associated grading, drainage, and pavement at the property located at 0 Montponce Street, shown on Assessors Map 95, Lot 10. Copies of the filing are available at the Conservation Commission office at the Halifax Town Hall per request via email, Peggy Seltzer at halifaxmass.org, or by calling 781-590-3872 or 781-293-6768. Halifax Conservation Commission.
Thank you. I'd be looking for a motion to open the hearing for the notice of intent for 0 Montponce Street, map 95, lot 10.
I put a motion that we open up the hearing for 0 Montponce Street.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Gray, identify yourself for the record. If you don't mind, I don't know if that'll, okay, as long as you got a speaker up there.
Is there a mic up there?
Is that on the tape? That might catch you. If it doesn't,
It's got a long cord.
okay.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Let me help you with that. You put a knot in it. I haven't done a wedding toast in a long time.
No karaoke.
You won't do one tonight either. You identify yourself for the record, please.
Kevin Grady from Grady Consulting, representing the applicant for the notice of intent. I'm here along with Carrie McPherson, who is the applicant. As you read into the opening, the project is for the construction of 17 self-storage buildings on vacant land, 0 Montponce Street, located on the town line on Route 58. The wetlands resource area was delineated by Brad Holmes, ECR, back in 2017. It was recently updated and confirmed. The wetlands resource area is demarked by these flags here and the dotted line to the rear. rear of the property. work that's proposed within the 100-foot buffer zone. Well, there's two buffer zones we're showing on the plan. There's a 50-foot no disturb zone, as you know, the Halifax local bylaw is a 50-foot no disturb zone. And then we have a second line, the 100-foot buffer zone here. So the part of the project that's before the commission tonight is the work that we're proposing between the 100, and the 200, the 100 and the 50-foot buffer strip. I guess if we flip through the pages, can we flip through the pages? Can I?
If you tap the screen, you might.
Oh,
be able to
maybe.
see your- I don't know if it's.
Oh, sorry.
Now you can.
Here, I'll click the other one, so-
Can I go?
Oh,
There you go.
Is that the one you need?
Yep, actually, I'll go through a couple of them real quick, but essentially that small sliver here is where we're focused. There was just a few pieces of buildings and some roadway within the jurisdiction of the commission. The site is vacant land, no buildings, et cetera. We did test holes throughout the property for our septic system and stormwater. So tree lines here, resource area and associated buffer zones are located to the rear of the midpoint of the property. It's a large 7-acre parcel, both upland along the frontage and some upland in the rear. We're just focusing on the upland in the front of the property here along Monpont Street. If you can flip to the next. Oh, I can press that now that I know where it is.
I can do it for you. Whatever. works.
Thank you. So, again, 7 buildings. The majority of the project is outside of the buffer zone. The project does propose erosion control around the entire perimeter of the site, protecting the adjacent woodland, also Monpont Street from any debris, siltation, etc. As you know, the commission's focused on mitigating erosion and sediment during and after construction until slope stabilization has occurred. So we have silt fence around the perimeter of the project, holding any trash, et cetera, as best we can. But the main focus is this silt sock to the rear. We have a 1-foot diameter silt sock along the bottom of the slope at the rear of the development. We do have a 24-foot wide driveway around the perimeter for emergency vehicle access. We can get a fire truck around the entire perimeter. So we need these nice wide roads to be able to do that. We have a guardrail along the back of the berm here. Then we have a shoulder, and then we have a 1.5 to 1 riprap slope we're proposing along the edges. So that riprap will stabilize that slope, keep it from eroding and having any chance to release any kind of sediment to the resource area. As you know, you have a 50-foot no disturb zone. That's going to remain undisturbed woodland plus a little bit more. As you can see, there's space between the 50-foot no disturb and the silt sock, so chances of having impacts to that resource area are minimal, and they're also mitigated with this erosion control. I guess we can flip to the next. Same screen, just showing the top side of the project. Again, erosion controls from the 100-foot buffer zone to the 100-foot buffer zone. We have silt sock. Let's try the next one. This is the stormwater plan. Let's just go one more. I'll just flip right to it. The majority of the roadways are, the stormwater is mitigated and attenuated via catch basins placed throughout the parking areas. Since these are long, level buildings for storage, we don't have a lot of slope to work with, so we needed a lot of catch basins. These are flat slabs, so you can only make the roadway go up and down a little bit to be able to get in and out of these buildings. So we have lots of catch basins in order to capture the stormwater. You can see there's low areas. That's a contour right there. There's another one right here. Again, in this location. So the roadway drainage is routed through catch basins to drain manholes, and then to this infiltration basin located to the north side of the property. I'm gonna flip two more, I guess. Roof drains are routed to subsurface detention basins. So roof runoff is considered clean water. It doesn't need to be treated with catch basins or any additional TSS removal because it's not, there's no sand or salt introduced to a roof that would need to be removed from the stormwater prior to discharging to the infiltration basin. So the roofs are routed directly to these subsurface basins. There's small outlets on them which let the water go slowly, so they will hold back the stormwater so that we can release the water at a rate that's lower than the existing pre-development condition. So water goes into those and we let them out of small orifices basically, and then they discharge in a few points along the rear, which is in your jurisdiction. We do have a stormwater application and permit that we'll be discussing with you at some point in the future, I guess. Let's take a look at the next. Is that it?
Might be it.
Okay. That's
Oh, nope.
construction details, as I said. See the roadways. I did profiles of the roadways. We're basically at a little over 1%, just trying to collect that water. There's long level slabs associated with these buildings. So this is more for construction than permitting, but you can see that those roadways, when you look down them, they won't look too hilly, but they will direct water to the catch basins. I think probably.
For some reason it's being slow.
It's a large file with 19 sheets, I believe. Yeah. Details. If you keep going, the last sheet is the landscape sheet.
Gotcha.
Those last few sheets there were pre and post development catchment plans that we utilized for the stormwater analysis. The landscape plan is mostly associated with the front aesthetic, but we also are proposing New England restoration mix in and around the stormwater basins and along the edges of the site that will be the vegetative stabilization that we're proposing to, to stabilize the ground, to eliminate the exposed soils that could silt up the wetlands if they were left unvegetated. There's a lot of buildings, there's a lot of drainage associated with this, there's a lot of pavement, but the majority of it is outside the buffer zone. And we are proposing stormwater controls, we're proposing during construction controls with silt fence, et cetera, vegetative covers. In our opinion, the project has been designed to protect the interests of the Wetlands Protection Act, protect the interests of the local bylaw, and will not have adverse impacts to the resource area. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Kevin, what I think I'd prefer to do is we'll talk about, I'll have you sit down.
Sure.
Let them just hold off on questions. I'd like Tunk Associates just to address the issues as far as the wetlands line,
Sure.
if that's okay. His findings.
Yep. We did email proof of mailing to NHESP today. There is an ongoing CMP that we were hoping would be completed and we wouldn't have to submit the notice of intent to them, but we submitted it and we now comply with the requirement of the mailing.
Okay.
And I emailed it to Peggy.
Okay, very good. Mr. Clemens?
Try to take the easy route here. A few other things in my hands. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission and Mr. Collins.
Just identify yourself.
My name is Phil Clemens. I'm the principal of Tunk Associates, wetlands and environmental consulting firm based in Hanson. And background-wise, I spent about 20 years in one role or another with the Hanson Conservation Commission, and got a few other connections to the science of this business, so this is the business I'm in. I had the opportunity to review the wetland line and also the reports from the past that Mr. Holmes from ECR has produced back in 2017 and in this past, just within the past few weeks. This has been a very busy time. We did this all in a fairly short notice. Fortunately, the weather was with us. Cutting right to it, the wetland line to review was much shorter than I was concerned it might be when I first was asked to provide an estimate for it. Because the work that Mr. Holmes did back in the past covered a much larger area. This is clearly much more limited. So there was only approximately, whatever the math is, 15 or so flags to be checked. I did that. And in order to be thorough in defending the line, both as done and as confirmed by myself, I performed, I did a few other things, and I put them in my report. I looked at the soils, and I also looked at the vegetation in a little bit of detail and documented that, hopefully to the benefit of all parties. But again, no concerns, no changes to the location of these flags number 8 through 22. It's interesting that it is where it is with regard to the power lines that go through there, because when those were constructed, probably back in the 1960s, it looked like the runoff from this area was channelized through a culvert. But that's off-site from this, and no impact. It simply documents the flowage of water from this particular wetland area northwards towards Palmer Mill Brook and those important wetlands there. So the wetland line was fine. I did notice in observing what Mr. Holmes had written up in his earlier reports, and also my own confirmation of that, that this is part of a relatively large polygon of priority habitat identified by the State Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. And as Mr. Collins has just said, and as he put in his notice of intent, there are communications that are necessary when that all occurs, and apparently those communications have been engaged in. I don't think it's within the scope of my responsibility to follow up on that, but I did note it because one of the interests of the Wetland Protection Act is wildlife habitat, which this most assuredly is. And there's wetland and upland, and I don't know, and it's designed by the Natural Heritage Program to not be too detailed for the mass public to be aware of what the species is that they're concerned about, or this and that, because sometimes too much attention being paid to a species is harmful to that species. But it's good to know that they are in communication with the Natural Heritage Program, and wherever that goes, I think that both the applicant and his representative and the commission should follow that through. Depending on what your action is tonight or beyond, it might be a special condition of your approval to make sure that the endangered species habitat is properly addressed. I would say in closing on that a comment that might be made, I'm not going to write anyone's recommendations for them, but it seems like this is a relatively small percentage of the overall priority habitat that's been identified by the state, and who knows what their response will be. So I feel that the work was properly done and reasonably well documented. I added a little bit more just to make sure that whatever the commission does or the applicant does can be defended should there be any appeals further up the line going forward with the regulatory process. And the report, I believe, is in everyone's hands, and if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Collins? No? Okay, good. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, does anybody have any questions relative, for Mr. Grady, relative to the line and the amount of work that's going to be done between the 50 and the 100? You don't have any? Kathy, do you have any? Okay. I always have questions. Yeah. One question I have is, On your proposal for the erosion control, you're looking at both siltation fence and an erosion control barrier, or just one?
There's two different erosion controls. There's a silt fence that's outside the buffer, and there's a silt sock that's inside the buffer.
Okay,
So it protects the down gradient wetlands.
okay. And you feel that's necessary, the both types of erosion control?
Yeah, it's pretty standard erosion controls that we use.
Okay. All right, the other question I had, the work that's gonna be within the 50 to the 100, that's basically, I think you did cover most of that. It looks like you've got a guardrail, and you've got some drainage, you got some pavement. Can I ask, is fire okay with the turning radiuses for that rear section?
There's been no comments on that.
Okay,
And I have had the opportunity, and I do believe I show a turning template with the
okay,
emergency apparatus being able to get all the way around.
okay, but you didn't get any comments back?
No.
Okay,
Well, there has been comments, but nothing
nothing,
on being inaccessible.
okay, so we can feel comfortable that the amount of pavement that you have there now is gonna be the maximum amount that you're gonna have?
Yes, 24-foot wide pavement. It's basically as wide as a public road.
Okay,
They're
so
gonna be able to get
you should
around
be
that.
fine. I do not have anything. I think you've outlined. I did have a question, but you answered it on, there's some 4-inch pipe that's going, I can't see it from here, from some of the catch basins. I couldn't figure out what that 4-inch pipe was heading towards the retention basins, but you've explained that. That's coming out of the infiltration basins.
From the
That's the
roots,
drain up, okay.
correct.
Any other questions? Any questions in board members? Any questions from the audience? Mr. Clements?
Mr. Chair, through you to the applicant, this may be outside the scope of what I was asked to comment on, but I was just wondering, regarding snow removal, I wonder what portions of the site would be used to potentially accumulate snow that might be removed from the pavement, and would any of that necessarily have to be placed within the 50-foot buffer? I don't know what spaces they might anticipate being necessary for that. Maybe it will never snow again, but maybe it will. Maybe we'll get, this will be the year of another 3-foot storm. But because snow removal is itself an activity and things go along with the snow, when it melts, you find out how much other stuff went with it. Not to mention perhaps melting chemicals, things like that. I didn't know if thought had been given to how much of the site needs to be sort of reserved, if you will, for that. Just a thought.
Okay, thank you. Part of this process is basically going to be to determine if the line is okay and that we're going to allow the work between the 50 and the 100. The next step of the process is stormwater management, and with planning board and with us with stormwater management. So I'm going to say that the snow removal or disposal area or stockpile area will be addressed then.
Right, simply that it may be within your jurisdiction if
Correct.
it's necessary.
Okay, I'm going to ask the applicant, does it appear there's going to be any snow storage removal within the 100?
Not stockpile. I mean, the typical edge of road.
Correct.
Small storm, yes. There'll
Okay.
be on the pavement in the rear, unless you want a condition otherwise. But, typically on a small storm, they're going to plow and just leave the edges. If there's a significant fall, they're gonna store it in the parking spaces. This is the place to store it. That's a significant area. There's another area out here that are both outside the buffer. Parking can be moved from this location to along the edges of the buildings, and that's typically where people are gonna park anyway when they're accessing the storage units. These are compliant, just spaces for compliance more than anything.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask the audience, does any members of the audience that has any questions or concerns regarding 0 Monpont Street, the notice of intent? Okay. Having seen none, anybody else got any comments? Anybody ready to? Okay. Is the commission, I mean, this is pretty straightforward, so is the commission ready to close the hearing and issue some conditions? Kenny, one thing, usually on the 50, you like to have some demarcation I don't know that on the plan it shows any demarcation on the 50-foot, or,
But that would be nice, like having some posts.
the post, or,
Yeah.
no, it's post and rail fence. Post and rail fence,
Would be nice.
yeah, that area is so heavily wooded.
We do have a,
He has guardrails, he said, right?
He's got a guardrail, right?
and we have a
But that's
chain
not
link
the
fence
50
around the
foot, is
perimeter
it?
of this.
But
um,
It gives you
for,
more.
Okay.
Protection from trespass.
So you got a chain link fence in the back?
Yep, all the way around.
Okay, so if we require you just post something on the chain rail fence, that the,
That would not be an issue.
no work beyond that point?
Yep.
Okay.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, so we need to protect the contents of the storage facility, so there is a 8-foot chain link fence around the entire rear. We can hang some signs, no problem.
And you can incorporate that into one of the plans. I'm assuming that you're gonna have to make some quick changes on that plan?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else that they want to discuss? If they don't, then I would be looking for a motion to close the hearing.
I put a motion that we close the hearing.
And I second.
Okay, I'm gonna go to a vote. Paul? Okay. Yes. Alan, yes.
Yes.
Kathy, yes. Okay. Now that the hearing has been closed, I would believe that we'd be looking at a standard order of conditions with some special conditions, meaning that the signage is going to be placed on the fence.
And waiting for NHESP.
Yes, part of the order of conditions, and that's the first one, is that our orders are going to be conditioned on MAP, whatever you want, that abbreviation.
Compliance with NHESP.
Yeah, NHSP.
Yeah.
And no snow storage, no snow storage. And signage on the fence. Was there anything that I might have missed in the special order of conditions?
I think that's it.
No, it's pretty straightforward, it's all explained.
Okay, all right. So I guess I'll look for a motion that we're gonna approve the project and we're gonna issue, typically, we need 2 weeks to do the order of conditions. We're meeting next week. I don't know that we'll get them out to you that quick.
We have plenty of time if you need an extension.
Okay.
It's not an issue. We still have planning board and a few other
Okay.
housekeeping items.
At this point, too, we're gonna make this contingent on this, we're gonna approve this based on this planned date. Would you prefer to update the plan before we issue our final orders in the event that,
It's probably not a bad idea since we haven't had engineering peer review yet. I don't anticipate that the project isn't going to get closer to the resource area. We
Okay.
pretty much
okay,
are
what,
at the 50-foot buffer.
what I'm gonna suggest then is that, if you can give us an extension, a 21-day extension, you can send it to the office in writing. We're gonna approve the project. We'll get it on our next, we'll keep it on their agenda if you get your approvals for the next meeting, which I don't think you will. Otherwise, then we'll get you the early part of January.
Okay.
And then you should have most of your conditions ready. Your plan will be updated. We'll condition everything on whatever that approval date is when you get it.
Sounds good. I think it's
Okay.
a good plan.
Anybody else, anything, any other suggestions? No? Okay,
Great.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Alan, do we need a motion to,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I'm gonna be looking for a motion to extend the response requirements additional 21 days. You know what? We might have to go a little bit. We've got a calendar here for January, let me just see. Where is it? It's not here.
I get it.
January 14th. I'm gonna ask you to have that continued to January 14th, 2025. And I'll be looking for a motion to continue this until, well, it's approved, we'll continue the order of conditions, the special order conditions, until January 14th.
I put a motion that we continue this 0 Monpont Street to January 14th.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. So you'll just get us an extension letter.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks, good night, yep. Okay, Phil, thank you.
This goes with Sarah. Right back in this, I don't lose it.
Okay, we have a 7:30 appointment, but I know they might be running late. Mr. Grady, Kevin? Do you mind just hanging in for a second?
Sure.
We have you on discussions for 0 Monpont Street on the stormwater review. Right. Just so that you're aware, our regulations require that the application is completely vetted before we schedule a hearing. So, based on that, when are you going to be comfortable enough? We have 4 departments that typically will respond, fire, police, highway. And then once we get all that information back, we will schedule a hearing. So if you've got an idea as to when you want to come back in with a completed application.
So is the completed application predicated on those departments' responses? It's not complete until you receive?
Those responses and the review.
Okay, so waiting on review, Pat will probably have that in a week, you know.
Okay.
I
So,
know police has signed off. Fire, we met with the water department tonight,
mhm.
and they said the fire chief we need to talk to again. He may have changed something from our original meeting that
Okay.
we need to discuss. So I expect that to happen. I don't recall if highway commented. I know water department did. Are they interconnected, or is it 2 different?
No, they're different. Okay. I know that in reviewing the plan with highway, their only concern is the entranceway, which I think I discussed with you. They want to make sure that you've got some basins at the entranceway.
Yes.
So our next meeting is next week, and then the next meeting would be in January.
I don't think we'll be ready for next week.
Okay. So if you don't mind, just in that letter, just send us something from the stormwater management, and we'll put you on for the 14th.
Okay.
Okay.
Requested. So, and on the 14th is when you'll determine that everything
Everything
application
is
is
complete.
complete.
Complete, review's done. What happens is the review will be done, and any changes that need to be made from the review engineer will be done by your office,
Yeah.
resubmitted. He'll review that, give us the okay, and that's pretty much the only thing.
So we
The
can-
interdepartmental comments, there's usually not many.
So we can discuss the application that night too, right? It's not.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, that timing sounds perfect.
Okay, very good, thank you.
All right, great, thanks.
Okay. 11425. Next discussion item is 596 Montponton Street, a certificate of compliance. I'm gonna ask that that be held for another week or so. Only reason being is we signed off on a partial, and they submitted for the final certificate of compliance, which I just saw on the agenda when I got it on Thursday. And there's few items that I think need to be completed. The fencing, and I stopped and I saw the applicant today, and I asked him to make sure that all the fence is complete, all the dirt, any dirt that needs to be moved is in place, and then there'll be no more earth-moving activities. So I'm gonna just ask that we hold off on that. If it gets done by the next meeting, then we'll sign off on that. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, 285 Home Street, in our folder somewhere. And I hope everybody got a chance to review the findings and the decision. Do we have a, is that another folder? Caitlin, you're gonna have to help me with this one.
Let's see.
I'm gonna give you this one back.
Yeah, we'll swap. Thank you.
Okay, we have the findings and determination based on the 285 Home Street project. I asked her to mail these emails to everyone. Did everybody get a chance to read them? Oh, just take a look. Never mind. Did you get a chance?
I did.
There were findings and... Okay. We'll just take a peek, let everybody take a peek at them. Good. What we have, just for the audience, is that this findings has got the background on the property, some of the uses since mid-2022, and then drafted up what we call the finding of facts, based on the representations by the council and the engineer. So I'm gonna be looking for a motion to endorse this findings and determination for 285 Home Street.
I put a motion that we, put a motion forward to endorse 285 Home Street.
I'm looking for a second.
And I second.
Going to a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, okay? First. Right, next order of business is 111 River Street, just looking for an update. It probably should have been part of the agent's report, but we haven't heard very much on the 111 River Street. Caitlin, I'm probably gonna have you just pick up on this. We had discussed some enforcement letters based on the requesting an amended notice of intent, a replication, and a restoration, and a replication plan. Am I correct with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. that's
What has
the-
happened, and we really don't know, they haven't invited us back. The last time we made a request to go out, they said that we couldn't. So we've drafted an enforcement letter, and it's requesting, is what I mentioned, the replication plan, restoration plan, and an amended order of conditions. So that's kind of the update on that one. Anything you want to add, Caitlin?
I think you covered it. That was all drafted today, so I wrote the enforcement order up, as well as the letter stating that they need to amend the order of conditions, as well as, let's see, I also specified and then, yeah, the restoration plan. That's all covered in the letter.
Okay. I don't know, do you want us to take a vote authorizing it? But I think I think you're fine as far as sending the letter out,
Okay.
okay? Anybody think we need to vote on that? I don't think, okay. 314 Plymouth Street, we're in the same situation. That letter went out a couple of days ago. The notice of intent on that project has expired, and there's been no response, and I took it upon myself to call and left a message and got no response from anyone. So we have sent out letters on that particular one. 340 Plymouth Street, we will know tomorrow. We are expecting some heavy rains tomorrow, so I know that I'll be out there, and you'll have some idea as to if the improvements they made on that project were successful.
Good.
Anything, we haven't had any major rain, so,
Right, it's hard to tell.
okay, good. 76 Pratt Street, to my knowledge, we have gotten no response from anyone.
We have not.
Okay, and we're at the stage, did we send out an enforcement letter?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
But that was to Zero Pratt. Because we had discovered that 76 Pratt was that smaller parcel, and Zero Pratt kind of engulfs that parcel, and that's where the cutting took place.
Okay.
So we had sent out originally to 76 Pratt, and then subsequently we sent out to Zero Pratt, because that's where they cut up to the river over there.
Okay, so right now, we did send a regular letter to both 76 Pratt and Thompson Street, the new owner of Thompson Street. Did we send anything certified?
I do not believe we did certified, just regular mail.
So we just sent them a letter requesting, okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna suggest that an enforcement order go out on this particular one and ask them to come to our next meeting. That would be the owner of the Thompson Street property.
Gotcha.
And I also probably suggest that maybe if Caitlin's got a minute, we're gonna do some inspections on Thursday. She might do a drive-by to make sure with this heavy rain that we've got nothing in there, nothing in the rivers. In the event that we do, then just let us know. You know, if anything is washed in there, so we can come up with some sort of measures. I don't know if we
Okay.
have to get DEP involved or not. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
We had the stormwater application. It's going to stay on our agenda for a little while. In talking with the admin, she's not very happy with the amount of information or the type of information that's on the stormwater application. I did some research, and some other towns are using the same application, and some are using a different one. So what she's going to do is to put something together that's going to outline the information she thinks that we need, and then we'll discuss it on our next meeting. If everybody's okay with that? Okay.
You want to do the appointment now?
Yes, okay. John, how are you?
Good evening, sir.
Okay, good. Now, is it Goyd?
No, good try. Guillaume.
Guillaume. Okay, for everybody met Mr. Guillaume, I'm gonna call him John.
That's right.
At the last meeting, John has filled out the talent bank application. Proper protocol is for us to interview him at a meeting, take a vote, and make a recommendation for an appointment, a non-appointment. One of the things that John was interested in, and I'm gonna bring that up, is a course that's coming out next month. But, John, what I'm gonna do is ask you to step up, just identify yourself and give us some idea as to.
Microphone, or is it sitting?
Yeah.
Good evening, my name is John Guillaume from 51 Lake Street here in Halifax.
And we have discussed this, but we'll do it in open session again. You put in a request to be on the Conservation Commission, so maybe you can share some of your thoughts. You're a newbie in town.
I am.
you
My
know-
wife and I have been here, it'll be 3 years in January since we moved into town. I retired from the Sharon Fire Department a couple of years ago, and we were looking for a nice place on a lake, on a beautiful lake, and there was. We actually looked at a house 2 doors down 6 years before and didn't purchase it, but we ended up coming back here. It's just a beautiful place. So now that I'm retired and I'm living on a lake, I have a lot of concerns for the water quality on the lake, as well as the water quality all around Halifax. I understand that we're at the headwaters of the Taunton River, so I'm concerned about that as well. And I feel like it's part of my responsibility, living on the lake, living here in Halifax, to participate in a board like this so that I can help. I think that every citizen has some responsibility, and this is where I'd like to step up.
I think in our conversation, I think everybody's aware that we spoke in the office and then he came to the meeting, and I grilled him a little bit. Your forte is you want to protect the lakes. And,
Yes, sir.
You don't have a lot of experience, but I think
No,
in
sir.
our discussion, you were okay with doing the research that's necessary to perform our duties, because we have to make our decisions, unfortunately, based on the regulations.
Right.
Sometimes, personally, we don't agree, but if the regulation says you can do this, then you can do it, so.
I understand, sir.
And I just think, are you prepared to do that?
I am. In my previous occupation, I was the emergency medical services coordinator, which meant I dealt with state licensing of the ambulances for the fire department. So I understand that when it comes to law, you get the letter of the law, and that's what you have to abide by. I would often have discussions with our chief about, can we do this? We can't do that. I said, Chief, this is the way the law is written, and that's the way we got to do it. And I understand that can actually help you, because when you're in a situation where you're wondering, go back to the letter of the law, it's right there in black and white what needs to be done.
Any board members? I know we had a little brief discussion. Any?
No.
Okay.
No?
Okay. I don't really have anything else. You have some involvement with the Watershed Association. Did they meet tonight?
They did meet tonight and installed a new board tonight, of which I'm the executive secretary.
Okay, good. All right. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Okay. If nobody's got anything else, Caitlin, any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. If nobody's got any questions, I would need a motion that we send a letter to the Board of Selectmen requesting that John be considered for the vacant position on the commission. Someone wants to make that motion?
Should we have a vote to see if we, I don't mind having a motion, but should we have a vote to say we recommend it? Like
That would be the motion.
part of the motion.
The motion would be to recommend or not recommend
Okay, yeah.
John to the Board of Selectmen for appointment to the commission. Now, I did, because of this SNAP business, I did reach out to the town administrator to see when their schedule was, so that we could, he had some interest in the SNAP, which is a stormwater management seminar. My thoughts are that he should probably just enroll anyways, but I did ask Cody, would the board be meeting prior to December 13th, and the answer was no. Plus the select board wanted to, I guess, hold the position open for 30 days. So we'll just make the recommendation, let him deal with it, and
Yep.
I'm gonna suggest that he signs up for it anyways. So if somebody wants to make a motion,
I-
either recommend or not recommend.
I put a motion that we recommend John to be appointed on the Conservation Committee.
Okay, I'm looking for a second.
I second that.
Okay, any discussion? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're all set. What
Thank
we're gonna do, we have to send the selectmen a letter, and then they'll put that on the agenda, and then they'll interview you. I would suggest, Caitlin, do you have any interest in that program, or do any other board members? What did I do with it? That's the one he sent you.
Yes, so I submitted an application. So you have to apply, it's free, but they ask a few questions. I think there are 4 or 5 of them. So I submitted the application to the stormwater, it's called like the stormwater series. So I did that Thursday of last week, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. But I did apply because I think that would be good to get me up to speed with stormwater.
Basically, what this program is a planning session, a series, which is 5 2-hour training sessions over the course of 6 months. It appears that it's going to be down in southeast Mass somewhere, at least from the pictures. But the emphasis is going to be on conceptual designs for stormwater that aren't the norm, which would probably be rain gardens or anything like that. So that's probably what it's gonna be.
From my understanding, I think a lot of it was virtual, and maybe they have some field. I'm trying to remember. I don't have the.
I did see that there were some field sessions as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought.
So you don't have a problem. What I'm gonna suggest is you fill in as an affiliate.
Okay.
You know, send your application in. Then, does anybody else want to consider going?
Do we know when it's meeting? Is it during the week or on weekends?
I can send you the information because I applied. So I will send out an email to all of you just in case you're interested, just so you can read through and see if you're interested.
It was 4 pages, but it didn't have dates and times, because,
I think they were not finalized yet. They're still working on it. Yeah, they had a number of classes that they were going to do, but no set dates yet, from my understanding.
Yeah, I'd be interested if I can fit it in.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I'll send all of you an email just so you can have, and if you're interested, I can send you the application.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, John, you're all set? And I would just put affiliate of the commission, you know, because I think you'll be on, I mean, the selectmen are going to be meeting the rest of the month. I'll do what I can to get it on their agenda.
All right, very good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Agents report.
Yes. So last week on Tuesday, Chair Diaz and myself went out to 266 Monpont Street for an inspection. They had started installing the drainage system. And Chair Diaz, did you end up going back out to 266 Monpont
Yes.
yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll fill it in after you can finish your report of this section.
Okay, so we checked out the drainage, and I didn't see, anything of concern. They're not quite finished yet. And Chair Diaz will fill in what he observed yesterday when he went out to the site.
Yeah, what had happened is 266 Mont Street, they had started the stormwater system only because the lot is so tight that in order to put the foundation in, they had to do all the stormwater structures first. They did not call for an inspection, so they had it, and it was probably 60 or 70% complete. We made them dig a little hole, appeared to be frozen, it was saturated, or it was wet with some silt. I did go out Monday, they sent an email in late Thursday to inspect the rest of it because they only built half of it. I did go out and look at it, and I met with Eric, I'm not gonna try his last name. I did notice, and I'll send a report in, that the material was kind of, we call platy. It was moisture ridden and it was kind of tight. It wasn't the best for drainage, but that's what they got. So I'll log it in. If there's any issues afterwards, then they're gonna have to address that. But I did do the second inspection. And platy is a type of soil that if you put it in your hand, it's almost like a little clay. So it's not a clay content, but it's something that you can make a ball out of and throw around.
So that's tough for drainage, it's just,
You're correct. And it's useless for septic system, but drainage, you gotta remember they have an influx of water and then it dries up, so. But, okay, let's get there. Is there anything else?
I think that covers it for now.
Okay. We are going to be doing 2 inspections on Thursday. We've got 2 reviews back, one on 90 Redwood. There's a little discrepancy in the line, but it's to the applicant's advantage, so I think Caitlin and I want to kind of go out and see what the difference is. The report indicates, I think, some hydric soil. They did hydric soil testing in some of the areas, so we're just going to go out and nose around, just so that we're both familiar, and especially her is going to be familiar with how that line is drawn. And then we've got another one at 91 Holmes Street, that the wetlands line is fine, but there's some indication that there must be some debris. So we're just going to see if it's in the wetlands area. As part of the order of conditions, we'll have it removed. Anything else, Caitlin?
Not that I can think of, I think we're all set.
Okay. The next item that we have is our meeting schedule for next year. Peggy did send it to me, we reviewed it. My biggest concern was the December 23rd meeting, which was close to Christmas. But it's a Tuesday, I think the town hall's closed the next day. I don't know that we need a vote, but I'll take a vote, let me see, on it, as long as everybody's fine with it.
Do you want a motion to accept it?
Yeah, well, we accept, yeah, if you don't mind.
I make a motion that we accept the 2025 meeting schedule that's been set by Peggy.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
okay, I'm looking for a vote, it's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, next item on our agenda is the bills to be paid. Somebody want to make a motion?
I put a motion that we pay the bills.
Okay. Do I have-
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let me just.
Actually, let's do it. Okay, next order of business is going to be review the meeting minutes for November 26th. They should have been emailed to everybody. And I thought they looked pretty good. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes. I put a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for November 26th, 2024.
I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0, unanimous. You know, it's good to see these meeting minutes are very,
Up to date.
very up to date, and I think she does a great job of them. Okay, is there any other business that we need to attend to?
Something about next meeting, December 6th, 17th. Do we have a lot of things planned for that day? Or?
That was very confusing, because it's usually every 2 weeks, so we
Yeah, I
get that
know.
on the notes.
Because of Christmas, I'm assuming that's why. It was.
What's the board's appetite? We don't have to make a decision right now. If everybody thinks they've got stuff to do, I don't have a problem. Our agenda has been pretty pretty good as far as being cleaned up. Notice of intent is, we're gonna get extensions on that, so we don't have to worry about the 21-day period there. And the rest is just kind of...
Discussions, yeah.
Discussions and enforcement issues.
Okay.
Does the board want to hold off, or do you want to wait for another week and see if we get anything massive coming in?
I say we, to make it easy for the people who might have to come for us, I say we possibly cancel it. There is a big meeting on the 16th, town meeting, the date night before.
You're right.
So,
Okay, but what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna let Peggy know the intent is to cancel it,
unless something comes up, we need to address
but
it.
I need to verify with her on filings, because I know that we have, we get 90 Redwood and 91 Homes. Those applications have been submitted, that's the only issue. If we have those, then we have to meet on those.
Yeah.
So, let me just work on that, I'll find out from Peggy. If those two are not gonna be ready for the 17th, then we'll
Yeah.
cancel it. If not, unfortunately, we gotta meet the 21 days.
No, absolutely, I fully agree with that, yeah.
Okay. It now being 8:03, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I put a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, thank you.